Hi guys, I'm Clay Ballard. Welcome back to Top Speed Golf, and today we're going to talk about the proper chipping technique and the setup for the chipping technique. And if we can get set up correctly, the chip is actually very, very simple. We're simply going to be rocking back and through, very similar to what we do with a putt. A lot of times I see people get into the wrong setup position, and then from there they start to scoop the ball, they start to chunk the ball, hit the ball thin, all kinds of different things, and it all stems back to just their setup and address and where they put the ball position. And it's very, very simple. I'm going to give you several keys to work on today and some great drills to help you ingrain that setup position. So first, let me go over what's commonly taught and then how we're going to do something a little bit different than this. This leads to a lot of chunks and a lot of scooping and flipping through the stroke. And a lot of times what you'll hear people say is you want to put the ball off the inside of your back foot. You want to have a lot of forward shaft lean, and you want to simply pinch down on that golf ball. Well, what that's going to have you do is that's going to have you coming into the ball very, very steep. If I let this club swing naturally from my left arm, then it's going to ground out kind of on the inside of my left foot. That's going to be the bottom of my arc, and that's how the golf swing works, not only for your chipping, but your pitching and your full swing. Everything wants to ground out kind of toward the under the logo of my shirt, or the inside of my left arm. That's going to be the bottom of your arc. And if I try to go against this by putting the ball really far back, now my swing naturally wants to ground out up here closer to my left foot. I've got the ball way back in my stance. I've got a lot of forward shaft lean, and I'm going to be kind of chopping down into the ground, which can lead to a lot of chunks. Or to try to combat that, to make sure that I don't chunk that, I'm going to start flipping and scooping the club up to try to pick it clean. And it gets really, really difficult. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have the ball just behind the bottom of our arc. So as I set up to this, I like to take a fairly close stance. So 2.5 to 3 club head widths between the feet. You know, so they're probably going to be about 8 inches apart or so. If they're a little bit wider, a little bit narrower, that's okay. I just don't want to have a really wide stance or a really, really narrow stance because I'll lose balance. I won't have as good a feel. Now from there, for my ball, I want to play it just off my left ear. So if we're looking at this and I'm setting up, if I put a club for my left ear, it's going to come down, and that's going to be just a little bit behind my left foot. What that's going to allow me to do is I simply let this club swing back and through. I'm naturally going to come down and through the ball, and I'm going to ground out just in front of it if I just let my body do what it naturally does best. So that's where my ball position is going to be. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and get a little bit of forward shaft lean. The reason we have forward shaft lean, with my hands in front of the club head, that makes things very, very stable. For any of you that have read Dave Pell's short game book, a great analogy that's in there is talking about using a pull cart. And if I have a pull cart and I'm pulling it behind me, it's going to track right along with me. If I'm trying to push that cart and my clubs are in front of me, it's going to be very unstable. So we always have to have the force, or where our hands are, in front of the mass, or where the club is. So just a little bit of forward shaft lean. So my feet 2.5 to 3 club head widths apart. My ball position off the left ear, just a couple inches behind my left ankle, if you want to look at it that way. A little bit of forward shaft lean, and then from here all I'm going to do is make a nice easy stroke back and through, very, very symmetrical. I'm going to go back and through about the same amount, and as I hold my finish, I'm going to keep my left wrist pretty nice and flat. I don't want to have my left wrist flipping up like this. I don't want to be breaking that left wrist because that can allow a lot of scooping. I'll hit shots high and low, and it'll be a little bit more inconsistent. I want to keep that wrist nice and flat as I'm coming through. The club head might set a little bit, or the club might set, get a little bit of wrist hinge going back. That's perfectly fine. As I'm coming through, I just want to make sure this stays nice and flat, and I pivot on around. So it's okay to have a little bit of lower body movement. You just want this to be very, very smooth. It feels a lot like just swinging a pendulum, very similar to like we'd have in the putting stroke. So if we can do these things correctly, proper stance width, ball just off the inside of my left foot, kind of by my left ear if I was to draw a line down from that, a little bit of forward shaft lean, nice pendulum stroke with the left wrist nice and flat as I come through, I'm going to be pretty consistent. Oh, actually made that one. So I'm going to be pretty consistent with this stroke. I'll show you a couple from different angles here in a second, but that's going to allow me to hit that ball clean every time. If you get the ball too far back in your stance, you get a lot of forward shaft lean. Now we have to do a lot of things to make sure that we don't chunk. That originally was to make sure that people come down and hit the ball first, but if you're coming down too steep like that, you're liable to hit the ball first and it shoot right across the green because you hit it thin, and then you have to try to hit it heavy, and it's just a mess when you do it that way. So get these fundamentals right, get set up correctly, and chipping is going to be so much easier for you guys. Let me go ahead and demonstrate a few. Good luck with your chipping. I'll see you guys soon.